everything.
Thanks for having me.
Bro, this is amazing. I finally got you in here. You're like the most elusive man in showbiz.
Yeah.
We'll get some words from the coaches, but I'm pumped to have you because you are everything that's right about not just jiu-jitsu, but about the sport, MMA, the journey. I did my homework on you.
Appreciate
the
it.
journey, the BS that you go through, everything in between.
Yeah.
Do you feel weird when I say that?
You know, it feels good.
Right.
For sure. But I don't know. I think a little bit of that goes with it feeling weird. Mm-hmm. You know, you can't maybe do those and be that kind of thing without that feeling weird. Kind of, you know, the spotlight and the compliment and stuff coming a little weird. I'm not gonna lie. It feels good, and every time you get respect from someone, a peer, you know, anybody, it's very nice. But you know what I mean? Like,
the human condition is like we receive, like, we either compliment or we hate, right?
Yes.
And some people give the compliments to, like, chase the retweets or the follows, you know what I mean, or whatever. But I genuinely, on the show, on a podcast, what I love about it is you like to believe it's genuine. And I feel more of a connection to guys like you, Ben Saunders, because we essentially come from the same training sphere of people. Not that I'm anywhere near Joe's level people, but let's be honest, you know, it's cool to have, when I watch the fights, I genuinely feel a part of it in some weird, strange way, which makes it even more exciting. Like, there was nothing weirder for me than seeing Ben and Matt Brown in the ring together, because I have friendships on both sides. It's weird, you know? Yeah. And when you guys go out there, and especially when someone gets to fight for a belt, do you feel like you get to go to Fight Island and fight for the champion? Like, it's crazy, right?
Yeah, it's really cool. And what I like about this is, even though there's this, you know, crazy.
Here comes the sexiest man in the fight game.
He really is. I think that Gray's doing.
He swears he uses no product in his hair. People.
Really? What is that? Water?
He swore on all the Italian saints. He gets out of bed like that.
What it is.
Natural juices and berries.
My greaseball brother.
Oh my God,
it's
beautiful.
Olive oil that I sweat out of my pores.
I don't believe it for a second. But
I got similar hair where I just kind of put water. I mean, not that good.
Not that good.
Just
that's
natural. Yeah.
I'm just trying to keep it these days.
That's
that ain't nothing but ultra perm.
that's next level hair. So you have to pinch yourself, right?
Yeah, the Fight Island thing, it's crazy because there's this crazy stigma, all this stuff attached to it. Obviously, these shows going on during quarantine have been crazy, and it's crazy, and it's been making me super prideful to be a fighter and be a part of this organization that's doing this through this pandemic. It's wild. So even when the first show went on and you see the results, the fights, and the reception, you're like pride and proudful, and you're not even a part of it. So now being a part of it on a new, you know, Fight Island it's excellent. But I also like the pureness of it. Like, it feels different.
Like the Kumite.
Yes. I literally just did an interview over, like, I feel like it's like just, it's the Kumite. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm fighting another guy from Brazil with a different style, and it just takes me back. And I remember when fighters, they must have just fought. They knew who they were fighting. They met up later. They didn't tweet each other. They didn't Instagram each other.
It was like the Gracie Garage. Like,
there wasn't a camera crew following them around, and this one feels good because last time there was so much of that. And like we just talked even about compliments and cameras and this and that. There's a certain amount of like mental energy that goes into a fight, and especially a title fight. And not that it's bad or it affects you, but it's other energy, where this is just, I'm meeting the guy there. There's nothing else. There's not as much, you know, cameras. There's not as much this. There's not as much that. Every time you get the chance to, it's great. But yeah, it feels just very pure in a way, and then just to go in there and fight another guy is,
you know, and maybe Eddie can answer. This is something that a lot too falls on the coaching, and no pressure, Eddie, because it's a situation where you have to condition yourself going in, because for some people the stage gets a little too big, the lights get a little bright. You have to kind of be conditioned to focus and dial in on what's in front of you. And it's funny, you can analyze mindsets all day, and being a Patriots fan, you know, it's like the Brady thing. When Brady got to New England, one of the first questions asked of him was, how are you going to feel about playing in front of 80,000 people, 75,000 people. He said, I played at Michigan. We played in front of 103,000. So he was ready. Like, the lights were never going to be too bright for him. And you have to kind of condition yourself going into a new venue, a new experience, fighting for the title again, which you've been, to the prom before.
Groundhog Day.
Yeah. So you have to, mentally, it's about the coaching keeping you dialed in and keeping you focused on what's in front of you. Am I right in saying that, or am I crazy?
Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot to it, yes.
I think coaches helping keep the fighter focused is a big part of it.
Keeping it on the fight, not the bullshit.
The fighter, also someone like Joe, who's so self-disciplined and self-driven, that when you combine forces like that, where we're both on the same page, that it's just, compound effect. So now we got 2 people or 3 people, 4 people, the whole coaching staff plus the fighter, all on the same page, same mission, all self-driven, all self-motivated. And then when you bring that together, it's a powerful force.
Do you feel like you're owed it, like you're due, like it's got to be your time? You could say yes. I would.
I mean, yeah, but at the same thing, I've gone through, I feel I've lived enough life and lived enough, especially of the fight life, to know that you don't deserve anything and you don't really get what you deserve.
There he is. Well, we might get some words from Coach.
You don't get what's owed to you. What's this? There's so many people when I hear someone say, "Oh, I deserve that. I deserve that." The first thing I think is, well, automatically by saying that, like, maybe you don't. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to say you deserve something. So, but also, like I said, I've been, not jaded, but in a way, like, there's been things in life that I've seen people get and you not, or even in the fight game where I'm just like, all you can do is work your hardest every single day at what you want. Nothing is guaranteed. But just knowing that, it gives you even further drive. Like, there's not a recipe like, I'm going to train this, I'm going to train that, I'm going to have this coach and that coach, and then I'm going to win. Like, you still know so much of it lays on you, and that's what's great about it. At the end of the day, it is up to you no matter what you do and what you deserve.
Of course. And it's okay, though, sometimes to have that attitude. There's always 2 types of fighters. The guys who come in super humble, and then there's the people that are like, I'm going to go out and take this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's something to be said about that attitude.
Yeah, but that's what's great about it is at the end of the day, you have to take it. Yep. Like all this stuff happens, and it's like there's one section to win the fight. Like, obviously the training is that, but you're not guaranteed because you had a good training camp and a perfect weight cut and this and that you're going to take it. Like, you literally have to take it while you're in there. And that's all there is to it. And that's what's great about it. Just knowing, like, I never deserve anything. Like, I have to earn it right now at this time. And there's only one way to do that, which is the fight.
It's 100% true. I mean, when you're training and you're in a camp like this, do you feel like it's more film, it's more physical, it's more game plan? How do you guys prep for this and feel like, I guess there's no formula, right? Is there?
Yeah. No, it's just a mixture of things. Like you just said, what lays on the coaches, that's a portion of it. What lays on the filming part, that's a part of it. The training partners,
the homework.
Every little thing really has to come together. It's like anything else, like making a freaking perfect album or movie or something. You need all the right parts for it to be good, and everyone plays an equal part. You respect everybody through the whole process. Every training partner you went to, like, I have amateurs that are giving me pushes every day that I need every single day, that are doing the physical part, on top of my coaches, even my wife, my friends, and even just like loving myself and giving myself time and feedback and all that kind of stuff. So, like I said, everything has to come together. At the end of the day, you have to do every single thing right, and you have to decide what that right is for you, and then know, like, hey, I still have a chance. It's not guaranteed, but you do everything you can every day. That's the game.
What does the championship mean to you? After all this, after coming through the whole journey?
Dude, it's really weird. It's I don't know. It's changed.
Is it validation?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's gonna kind of be like, it's gonna make shit official for me. Like, and honestly, there's nothing very romantic about it at this point. Like, I think the last time it would have been romantic. Like the third time's a charm, and I came back from this and that and all that. It was like perfect, right? But like we just talked about, like, you know, perfect doesn't always happen. Like, and now it's something that just makes it official that I was great. Like, because the idea of a title and a belt has changed so many times in my life. Like the first time I went for it, I thought it was the only thing that was going to make me complete as a human being, and that like I only meant something because I had a gold belt around my waist. I'd stare at it on my phone as I ran, and like that just completed me. That was the only way I was going to feel enough. It didn't happen, and I was like, oh, I'm still enough. Like, people love me. I still feel good about myself. Everything's good. The second time, it's like, all right, it's this. The third time, it's this. So now, honestly, it's just like, I know I'm good. People are going to always be talking. They're going to be in a barbershop. He was a great fighter. He was a great fighter. This is more just like that official line that is like world champion, and where they can be like, there's no doubt he was the best in the world at some point.
And life is what happens while you're making plans.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So shit happens. You know, I mean, you get another crack at it, which most people never get one.
Yes.
So it's got to mean the world.
Yeah, that's a lot of it too, is like how many people, you know, are out there that have never got a shot or multiple shots. You know, there's a reason for that also. So all that is great. And, you know, I can look back at a lot of stuff and be proud. But at the end of the goal was always to be the best. So, you know, it's about accomplishing that goal for sure. And like I said, just making it official that I was the best, because it's in question at all times. Oh, he was the best. And you know what? He actually could have won that first fight. It was a split decision. He could have won the title against Dominic Cruz. That was in WC at 35. That was close. It's always a question. But like, this just kind of makes it official. Like,
you never want to be the best finally to not win a championship.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
So now you're just the best, and like that, it's over. You know, I feel like, you know, if you don't, at the end of the day, it was, yeah, like I said, there's a lot to be proud of, but it's like, it was a job for me. It was a career, whatever. You know, you set out to be the best. So,
what does it mean? What does it mean to you, Eddie, if this works out, if this all comes together?
I mean, that's everything for what, you know, what we're doing goal wise, and business wise. That's the goal. So that means everything. More so, not for myself, but for Joe. You know, that's a lifelong journey of his, and I'm fortunate enough to be a part of it. You know, that's how I feel about everybody I coach. I want them to achieve whatever goals they are, and whatever capacity that I can help them do that, then, you know, I want to make that happen.
What's up, everybody?
What does it mean to you, Casey?
Hey.
Can you Well, for me, it's going to have special importance just because at this stage in my career as a coach, I know how much goes into this, and it's kind of like a culmination of a lifelong pursuit for Joe. And, you know, Joe was pretty spot on when he said that this isn't going to define him by any stretch. He's already a great person. He's already accomplished a lot. But for me, I just love to see my friends achieve their goals and be happy. And so for me, it's just going to be part of the process, seeing my good buddy just be awesome, man. And I can't wait. I can't wait to watch it unfold.
Yeah, on that, like, that just reminded me of a simple way to put it is, like, it doesn't define me personally, but it does define me professionally. I honestly believe that. Like, I feel almost like I didn't do anything special in this sport if I didn't win a title. Like, you can't look back and be like, he was good, he was great, you know, he almost did that, whatever. So I honestly think, you know, to play it up where we're kind of downplaying is it doesn't define me as a person, and life is what goes on forever. But it does define me, I think, professionally, winning it.
And this is more for Casey towards you, for Coach Casey. When you're putting this camp together and you're putting together a camp for something like a championship fight, I was talking about this with Eddie. Where does your emphasis go with a guy like Joe, and what do you kind of like to focus on and put your attention towards?
Well, when you're dealing with the highest level athletes in the world, the amount of skill necessary to win these fights, that's already there. That's not going to change. So really, it's just about setting the table and making sure that everybody's feeling good and cardio's there and we're healthy as possible going into the fight. I really like to just focus on the mental side of it, I would say, because with Joe, he's such a high level athlete that if I think that I'm going to swing the needle one way or the other, I mean, we're talking about, I would hate to say this, but a game of inches here.
Right.
So
no, 100%.
It's literally just about feeling good, being healthy, having a great weight cut, going out there, understanding what's happening, but at the same time not putting too much pressure, and just knowing that Joe has the skill set that it takes to win a belt and to win this fight. We watched it happen in the first round. Like, we were there. We've seen this. Now we just have to go out, and it's all about actualizing the lifelong pursuit and, keeping shit into perspective, man. And I think Joe's prime. He's ready.
Not getting headbutted will help, too.
Yeah, don't do that.
Just keep going, yeah.
Don't do that.
Always helps.
What a going through this, Joe, 2 times now, what do these guys mean to you?
I mean, they mean everything. I mean, you can't do it without people by your side pushing you every single day, keeping you mentally ready, keeping you comfortable, and caring about you. Fighting is like a lonely sport. You're lonely in there. You're lonely here, there, cutting weight. So you need those people that make you feel not alone, that they're on your side, that they have your best interests in mind. And that's what they bring to me. Like, I know they love me and want me to succeed and have my best interests in mind. And that's where everything changes for me. Like, I've had coaches before where, there was this, there was that. I was like, do you really have my best interest in mind? Like, you know what I mean?
I know 100% what you mean, because win or lose, you're never going to forget who's in that ring with you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it's all about. So when Eddie or Casey tells me something and I respect them as people and I see them every day, with their families and how they are with other fighters and how they are with me, I can take what they say to heart. I'm not going to neglect it like somebody that, I don't respect or I don't think really cares about me or about his job or anything. Like, their passion shines through, not only for the sport, but like for me as an individual every day. So like I said, it's a lonely sport. It's a hard sport. So going in with people you love and that care about you, like, that means everything to me. I mean, we could talk like technical aspects and all that all day as well, but that's what coaching and a team really, really means to me.
It's spot on. I mean, I think, like I said, win or lose, you'll never forget who's in the ring with you. Yes. And for 2 coaches here, you'll never forget this moment, having a chance to compete at the highest level and win something that no one can ever take away from you. That to me is powerful, is always powerful. No one can ever take that away from you. You can always forever and a day say, I held this or I coached a champion, and that's something no one can ever take from you.
Yeah, I told them last time when I was getting really personal is, when I didn't win the title the other times, I kind of looked back and I was like, you know what, I didn't win that one, the first one or something, because I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for that spotlight. I wasn't ready to have something so great happen to me yet. I don't know how my life would have gone after that if that happened so early. I needed to persevere. I needed to go through this. I lost the second one. I'm like, why the heck would I lose the second one? And I was just kind of like, that doesn't make sense at all to me because everything was perfect. And then I was like, the reason I didn't for that one, I didn't have an excuse. Like, I felt like I was ready. I felt everything happen. And I said, you know what? I needed it to be with you guys. Like, that's literally how I feel, is like, I didn't win that one, and that was taken away from me. So, like, we could do this together, because this is who I was supposed to do it with.
And everybody,
And that's how I feel.
and everybody responds differently to different types of coaching or teaching, whether it's visualization. Like, I was a big visualization guy. I didn't respond well to rah-rah coaches. I grew up with coaches that scream, and Eddie knows where I'm from. And, like, you know, growing up where we grew up, people screamed in your. That was the thing. You know, it wasn't the West Coast vibe. It was, you know, get out there. You gotta, you know, everybody was what we called like a rah-rah guy. And I never responded to that. I'd be like, what's with all the yelling, you know? Like, what's going on? And I visualized a lot. I had to visualize making a tackle, making a block, doing things. So for me, I responded well to that. You got to have the right coaches that take you to that place, so you respond the best that you can respond to the coaching, to that element. And I think, you know, like Coach Casey, I you know, obviously I respond incredibly well to his classes. To this day, he'll tell you I will only go to his classes because I respond well to how he teaches and how he coaches. It's with love. There's a lot of, you know, hey, this is the why, this is the why, this is the why, and that's what I need. You know, that's a huge element, and I think that's a little bit of what you're getting at. It's having that right team that gets in your head and says, look, we're going to do this, or this is going to be thing. How, and this is, you know, maybe for Eddie and Coach, you know, how fast does a game plan go out the window sometimes in a fight?
Milliseconds, seconds before you even walked out there.
Right. So you have to be ready for B and C.
It's actually funny that you bring that up, because we've been talking at length about other coaching jobs that have been happening that we've been watching. You know, there's a lot of stuff in the news right now. I don't want to really bring anybody up by name, but one of the things,
Just kidding.
no, one of the things that happens,
He plays the politics.
No, it's good.
one of the things that happens is people overcoach. You know, I'm a firm believer that we do all of our coaching in the gym, in training. And like I said before, a guy like Joe, he's ready to go. You know, so the most important thing for me is just little things. You know, it's the tiny, tiny little things like, hey, you know, in this exchange last round, you circled the wrong way. Let's, you know.
To me,
circle
they're
the
too
other way.
quiet in the corners, though. I mean, you know what I'm saying, Eddie? Like, to me, sometimes am I wrong? I don't know anything about UFC, but I mean,
it depends.
Well, it depends on who you're talking about. You don't want to overcoach too, because
there's a fine line.
It's also about getting hit, rolling with the punch, stepping outside, returning fire. And if I'm just giving too much information, now he's thinking about what I'm saying and he's not feeling the fight. So, you know, in reality, it's little cues. You know, keep your hands up, circle. You know, watch the switch. It's just little tiny things.
because I always try to compare it to football, Eddie. Like, I'm thinking like halftime adjustments, like, you know, but it's not like that, right?
No, yeah. I mean, I'm giving, like Coach Casey said, I'm doing little things as far as what I see. I might also say some stuff to try to, you know, confuse or mess up the other opponent, maybe get him to do something or not do something, for that matter. You know,
coaching the judges too a little bit.
Yeah, it might be for the judges specifically. You know, so yeah, there's a lot going on at one time.
What do you respond well to, Joe? What do you look for in the corner?
Just
The rah-rah stuff or more?
no, just more honesty, positivity, and just direct and simple. Like, you know, just something direct, simple, positive, but also honest. You know what I mean? I think that's what I respond best to. I can't, like, focus is already hard enough, I think. So it's like I couldn't just hear barking orders. It's a little too much. I like to feel the fight. I like to feel that. And at that, everybody's different. Like Mike Perry just won with his girlfriend in his corner. You know
He ruined it for everybody.
Yeah. So it's like I've always believed, like, hey, if I didn't have to have a corner, like what Casey said, they did their job. Like, I've had people not be able to go to fight sometimes. You know, not Casey or Eddie, and I've been like, well, we already did the work. What's the difference?
Right.
You're gonna give me some water and you're gonna tell me like a few little things. Yes, those help, but at the same time, you have to know, like, this 8 weeks, this 10 weeks, this is when we're doing our best work. So every single person's different. Some people, want nonstop orders. Some people want this. Some people want that. And that just goes, everyone's an individual in mixed martial arts and in life in general. You know what I mean? That's why when someone's like, hey, I'm training with this freaking ninja worker that trained in the mountains in Japan for this long,
For the
like
Kumite.
that's cool. But then somebody's like, oh yeah, I train with my uncle in my garage. That is what's best for them. And if you think what's best for you, that's what's best for you. That's the end of it.
Just to kind of touch on that point a little bit, one of the things, I think the week of the fight is pretty critical.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think some of me personally as a coach, I think some of my best work is done before game day. You know, so like keeping it light on fight week,
mental.
keeping everybody, because could you imagine, let me just set the table for you. I'm going to just tell a little story. So you get an opportunity. Your entire life boils down to one moment. You have to get on a plane and you got to fly 24 hours to another country in a foreign land, and you got to fight a guy who's been training to destroy you. And the people you bring are worried about setting up Tinder accounts and doing all kinds of stupid shit. And here you are. It's the most strenuous activity you can get in your entire existence. It all came down to that. Your coach's job, it begins when we get on the plane to go. I mean, we do all the work in the gym. You know, we do that. But for me, I'm really focused on trying to keep things light, keep it moving, keep everybody happy. You know, we're going to put the attention on the fight when we need to. But in general, that 24 hours each day, I don't want my fighters stressing out on that stuff. You know, and so I view my job as like the second we arrive at the airport, I'm on 24 hours a day until we get the win and we're coming home. You know, and then the second we get the win, I'm pretty much done. It's like, dude, you won. I want to go home. I'll see you later. You know what I mean? And I think it's really important as a coach to just realize that we're going there, strenuous circumstances, and it's our job to keep things as smooth as possible. You know, I'm a blocker. That's what I am. I'm a fullback. I'm keeping linebackers off Joe. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, that last week becomes critical.
Yes.
You know, that's when you put the mitts away, right, Eddie?
No, I mean, yeah, workout-wise, you know, and then everything's about decluttering fight week.
That's a good way to put it,
You know,
actually.
we're going to declutter the
Yeah.
technique. We're going to declutter, like, all the
Clean it
external
up.
distractions. We're going to focus on nothing but having fun, positivity, good vibes, and then, you know, what we're doing technique-wise is just simplified for what we need. Joe has all the tools in the world. You know, when a fighter goes in there, like, they have the tools to already do it, you know, and we're just going to focus on a couple little things because once they get in there, like, it's going to happen.
I like that, though,
Yeah.
decluttering.
Yeah,
That all like took the words out of my, or like the feelings. Like that's exactly what fight week is. Like the work's done. You know, you don't have a hard, grueling training session next. You have maybe a weight cut, but you have the fight, and that is hard no matter which way you put it. So we don't make anything else, you know, hard. You know, we declutter like, look, the fight's going to be hard. Let's have fun. Let's keep it light, you know, this and that. So, and they're the perfect vibe and corner for me to do that.
I can see that,
yeah.
for sure. Seeing all three of you together, for sure. You know, the vibe just feels the same across the board, and knowing the way that I know you now, spending a little time with you, you guys all have the same kind of temperament, you know, and that's a good thing.
Yes.
Well, honestly, like
works.
if Joe said he wanted to be in the real estate game, he's like, okay, I'm done fighting. I just want to get into real estate now. I would still be his number one supporter. If he called me, I would drop whatever I'm doing.
Buy the first
and I
property.
would jump in and
I'm in
help
the real
him.
estate game now, which is
True,
funny.
but you know what I mean. Like what I'm saying is like the fame, the titles, it's all very important in our process. But in reality, it's the friendships and the love that we have, and I think that's the difference. You know, there's a lot of people that their relationships are based on certain things happening, and ours are not. Like I think we have a relationship that exists outside of MMA, outside of that as well.
How many toxic corners are there in UFC?
Oh boy.
Someone.
I don't know how many right-hand
It's a
turns
hard
can you
number.
make in Vegas.
Would you say 50%? I feel like this is an underground topic that's not talked about enough.
I couldn't even tell you.
I think that's a little high,
the ones
honestly.
that I engage
But
with,
I don't know.
like, and they coach quite a few athletes. Like the majority of it, they're good people. You know, I think they all feel the same way as far as you know, they're truly passionate about what they do. They truly care for the people that they coach. And because of that, they're able to, you know, see each individual and establish their needs specifically for them. And they're able to, you know, to deliver it to the people that they're able to take on and coach.
Maybe not toxic.
Yeah.
Is the
word toxic definitely takes down the percentage. Like if we're talking toxic, I think it's a very small percentage.
Yeah.
But you've been in this game long.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
But
You've had a lot of corners.
Coaches not out there, maybe, you know, with their fighters' best interests in mind. Maybe that goes a little up. Coaches out there, you know, that care about themselves more than their fighters. You know, that number maybe goes up.
Or even
Doesn't-
coaches out there dicking around all
Just
fight
don't
week.
belong, or act like they never been there before. That percentage goes up. But
I think
the
one-
toxic, I think, is
Toxic's a
pretty
bad
small.
one.
Bad
yeah.
word.
But I think that there are
But there
people-
is, but a small percentage.
There are some fighters. I got caught into this when I was at my very first gym. I was so loyal to the team. I didn't get along with my trainer very well. We weren't clicking, but I was so loyal to the team that I stayed there for like 7 years plus just because. But it wasn't toxic because he's a good dude, clearly. I mean, he had a lot of guys fighting with him, you know, for him. But it was just he wasn't my best fit. And I stayed for a long time. So there's a lot of those type of situations where, you know, you got a good coach, you just don't vibe well, but your team's awesome, so you stick around.
Yeah, I asked because the progression of sports, right, like life, like anything else. So in Major League Baseball or NFL and other major sports, it's hard to like be a really terrible coach in my opinion. Like you're gonna have, you know, maybe 25 teams are gonna have freaking solid staffs, right? So maybe only the percentage is very small. Maybe 10% have like a not the best staff, you know, not the best fit in that particular time in that organization. So like to what Joe said earlier, it all coming together at the right time becomes so important. And it comes back to what we always talk about, Coach and Eddie, it's circle, right? And what you have around you and decluttering and the theme of kind of everything we're talking about becomes so important. And as you get older and as life starts to come together, you just don't have time for the BS. Right? You just have to eliminate a lot of it, or all of it. And it's hard to eliminate all of it. We all have, you know, bills that got to get paid and stuff that goes on, but you just got to eliminate so much of it. And for you at this point, it has to be like tunnel vision like you've never seen, right? And that's hard sometimes. Like the phone must go off like crazy and you're just like, I'm busy, like go away.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes. I wanted to touch on what you were saying about the professional sports leagues. You know what's so crazy about our sport to that, even though, you know, we're trying to get to that level. We're on ESPN, but it's like a professional sports league, to be a coach on that team, you have to go through so much.
So much.
Interviews, general manager, owner, this, that, experience, everything. This sport isn't like that. You can go manipulate somebody that just wants to train MMA and make them feel like they need you with no credentials, no requirements, no anything.
Oh, I see guys down at the gym all the time.
Exactly.
They're 900 pounds. They don't look like they've done anything. I'm like, how are you coaching?
So there's no credentials needed sometimes. But you know what's fun? Like the thing for that is on a lower level, there's not really credentials needed to get in a professional fight either. You know, to go to a king of the cage after training a few months in jiu-jitsu as well. So, you know, that's another thing. That's a whole nother story, obviously. But it's just funny because we're trying to be professional sports, but it's like, look, there is teams, and the best of the best have these teams with these coaches, with these credentials for sure. But I'm just saying, you're not allowed to have that trickle down in NBA because you have to go through so much just to be a coach. When you have, you know, hundreds and thousands of fighters all over the world just trying to make it, you know, there's going to be...
And that'll come in time, right? As it gets less watered down, it comes in time. And, you know, it becomes less watered down because the quality goes up. And, you know, in the beginning, you know, whether it was NFL or NBA, you didn't have that quality at the cream at the top. You know, there wasn't the television money and everything else. That's starting to come in little by little. And I think that's one of the benefits. And I know there's pros and cons to this, you guys, and this leads into a whole nother topic. When the UFC, which it's the Premier League, truly, you know, gobbles up everything and there's not another league. And I mean, like, the coaches should be making millions of dollars. I'll say that with Casey. He's sitting right. You should be, you know what I mean? And the fighters should be making more. Now, there's pros and cons to that. That's a whole nother debate. And I know
it's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, it's a whole nother podcast. I know Colby Covington was outspoken about that when I had him on. Other guys were outspoken about that. It's something where, like, this is what I'm getting into. The gimmick, and sometimes some guys with the gimmick and the BS and the corner BS, you know, it comes down to, is that selling tickets? Is that something like the shtick? How, you know, do you have to, like, you're a great guy. Like, I meet you, I hang out with you. You're one of the best human beings alive. You should be getting $1 million for this fight. You don't, and part of it might be because you don't have the shtick, right? Do you ever feel like you need to be like a Connor and blow up a bus or something?
No.
Well,
I feel you got to be yourself or nothing else matters. So that's all you can really do.
Well, think about this. Like, I can go get an OnlyFans right now and make some money doing that. But how much is your pride worth, really?
Right.
That's what it comes down to. Like, are you going to sell yourself? Is there a number? What's the number? Is it $10 million that you'll sell your soul? Is it no dollars? You know, and always remember this, like, especially in the climate that we're in today, when you choose your path and you get a job, you are creating a social contract between you and the company. And so, like, if you're working at a fast food joint and you're mad that you're making minimum wage, well, guess what? You knew that going into it. And if you don't like that, pivot, change. The one thing, money's great, and I want all my fighters to make it all the money, right? But at the end of the day, we're judged on our life choices. And, you know, being just a solid person, the money's going to come. Like, if you chase the money, it's never going to be there. But if you attract the money and you're just a solid person, there's going to be so many business opportunities for Joe. Could you imagine this man's focus for this many years has been on MMA, and he's super broad, even in his just what he's thinking about all the time. But imagine 5 years from now, he's retired. And can you imagine that same focus that got him to the pinnacle of his profession, fighting, gets changed into something else? Like, I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to be successful at whatever he chooses to be. But right now, you know, hey, we're just in the situation we're in, and he's just got to focus on getting that strap. The rest is going to take care of itself.
What do you think, Eddie, about the shticks?
I mean, I 100% agree that you just need to be true to yourself, because at the end of the day, that's who you're stuck with, right?
Boom.
So if you're not true to yourself, you're not going to be truly happy. That doesn't come from anything external, right? Happiness is a choice you make yourself.
You know, and I'll be critical. I'll say it. I think sometimes, in some ways, the PFL gets it right? Because the champ at the end of the day gets a fucking $1 million.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
You know, that's how I feel personally about how I would do it and how I want the individuals that I truly care about to do it. Because I think that's how you find true success in life. But do I think that it doesn't influence things? Well, of course it influences things. Like, I'm not naive to that. You know, you see it happen all the time. So,
well, I'll step in and talk about that. Yeah, the PFL pays the top guys okay, right? Like $1 million.
You earn it on the mat.
But here's the thing. The weight of the marketing machine behind the UFC can create a global brand for you that I don't think the PFL can even touch. So, in my opinion, if I had a chance to win $1 million in the PFL or a belt in the UFC, that's like stepping over $1 to get a dime. You know what I mean? I think the UFC is the biggest show on earth right now, and that's the one that you got to win. And if you act correctly, you invest your money wisely, you don't become some shtick, and you stay ethical and you stay true to yourself, I think the marketing machine behind the UFC, I think it'll position you better in life down the road. I mean, how many guys in the UFC have really parlayed their careers into something amazing? There's been quite a few. And then, you know, there's a bunch of boneheads too, the outliers on the other end. they're just going to piss it all away and end up with nothing.
Yeah. And the real work begins after. It's kind of building a brand. Yeah. When you get into fighting, I bet you never imagined it becoming.
It's all individual. What are you going to do with what you have, with the circumstances you have, with circumstances meaning the money, the platform, the this, the that, everything you can change, individually, and you can have power over. So it's going to be successful people here, there, with less, with more, So that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, you get a firsthand look at it, from the inside out, partly because of Megan and everything else, in your home life. But it's about building your brand, your business, everything around this as you move forward. And you've been going through it since your last shot and parlaying it. You don't want to be a guy just selling T-shirts, right? Like you want to take it to the next level, whatever the next level is, and have a team around you that helps get you to the next level. Like when I started turning on a microphone, I never thought I started in my kitchen that it would be this at this point. And I got people I got to answer to, sponsors, companies. You never realize what it can become. And I think Coach is right. The marketing machine, if used properly, and that comes down to, I think looking back at guys like John Jones, right? He won champion. He just went out and won, and over time just became like, he was never really had a shtick. I mean, did he? In my opinion, I mean, he never really. He does, right? I mean, to an extent now, but he's a fighting champion.
Yeah, I think his shtick is actually just being a cool, genuine, mellow guy. I think that's his shtick. I mean, he's a wild man for sure.
Oh yeah, he's got his personal dalliances, but that's he's still who he is, and he just goes up. I mean, Amanda Nunes is another one. She just gets in the ring, does her business, right?
Chill. There's no theatrics.
There's no theatrics.
Yeah.
There's plenty of other guys we can point to.
I'll tell you this though: if Joe said he had to go to hell and back, I would go with him.
And that's all that matters.
And that's a character thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
100%.
I want to align myself with character. We talk. I'm just gonna leave with this. I got to get out of here. We got sparring coming up, but
yeah,
I'm gonna leave. My final thought on this whole entire thing is, now that I've known Joe, I know that you cannot be driving on a donut and be successful. You cannot not have your registration paid and be successful, because you're going to do all things the way you do one thing. And if you're not paying attention to the detail in your personal life, how can you expect to achieve greatness in other areas? Like, are you walking past weeds in your driveway every day? Like, you're just walking past them, you don't want to address those things? It's really important to clean the inside up before you start looking to the outside. And I look at Joe, and without getting very specific, he's very detailed and he's got his shit together. And one day it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, man, I got the most talented guys in the world, and some of them are underachieving. Why? And then I look at Joe, and it's like, dude, because he's really happy in his personal life. And you have to reverse engineer your career. Everybody's thinking,
we've talked about this.
Yeah. Oh, if I learn this kick is the one, man. This is the one that's going to win me the belt. No.
The ninja
That's
move.
not it. It's the right situation, the right family members, the right spouse, the right boyfriend or girlfriend. It's the right coaches, and taking advantage of the opportunities that are in front of you. And that's by being disciplined and staying in the gym. If Joe wasn't staying in the gym during this whole thing, who knows if he would have been able to take this fight at Fantasy Island? Who knows? You know what I mean? But he stays in the gym, he stays professional, and it's all built on the principles of having your life figured out first.
Don't run out, because we're gonna finish. I told him I'd have a hard finish. I'd get him out of here.
Okay, my bad.
Don't do that. So I'll throw it to Eddie, then I'll go to Joe. So Eddie, do you agree with that? It's all about having that right structure in your life to create the champion.
I feel that's very important. What he said, it's like you're going to walk past weeds every day, or, because that's 100% accurate to me. I've seen it over and over. It's like a saying, right? Matters of great importance should be treated lightly, and then matters of small importance should be treated greatly. So it's one of those things. It's like if you neglect and just mistreat and mishandle all the little things in your life, like you think by the time you get to something pressing and important, you're going to be able to deal with it like you want to. So it's all about treating each one of those things that you do with importance. Everything you do
Has to matter.
I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah. It's a good line. I say this, and I'll throw it to Joe.
The book,
you know, when you're constructing a champion, to me, the road is always squiggly, right? So you can bring up the weeds example. You can bring up. I always say, a good plan executed now is better than a great plan later. So sometimes you just have to get out and do it. It starts with just doing it. And way back in the beginning, it was about just getting in the ring and just doing it. And then as these guys come along and refine and tweak and show you where all the weeds are and show you where all the dishes are and teach you a more efficient way to clean it up, you reclaim so much.
Just
the crumbs.
Even just shedding light again to areas that he already does so well. You know, and it for a fighter, it's like, hey, look at all these things. It's like, yeah, you're right. You know? So the mental side is so important.
And Joe, before we wrap, do you feel you've done everything that you can? Or do you feel like you're leaving things on the table? Do you feel there's anything else you need to do?
I mean, win the title is something I need to do. That's really it. No, I mean, you try to go through every day doing exactly what you can, and you know, it's hard to say because camps are different. You know what I mean? Like everything's different. Like I can honestly say this camp wasn't as good as the last one. But to me, a fight isn't about like, it's about like a lifetime of work, you know what I mean? And preparation, and then refining it and all that kind of stuff. And then obviously making it happen. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. Oh, I could have woke up at midnight and ran 8 miles.
Like, do you ever go through that? Like, are you ever like, hey, I should have got up at 3 instead of 4, you know?
No, like, see, that's the thing. Or you'll just drive yourself crazy because also that becomes a point of, you know, why are you doing all this stuff? Like, you also have to believe in your process and what your coaches are telling you, you know, and what you're doing exactly. So, no, I mean, when I am training, there's nothing left. I'm going hard. I'm trying to win every single second of every time. When I rest, I make the most of my rest. When I recover, I make the most of my recovery. So everything that I'm supposed to be doing, I am making the best of like every second possible, you know. And my career, I've never took a shortcut in my life, you know. And at the end of the day, when I was talking earlier, that's something I'm proud of. Like I said, if I don't win the title, you know, like that kind of defines me professionally. But what's left, you know, he's good, he's that, is like, well, he never took a shortcut. He never gave up on anything, you know, no matter what. So that's something else. Like I said, like we talked about earlier, I don't just throw around compliments to myself, but I can honestly say that, you know, that I never took a shortcut, never lost faith, never gave up, never lost belief in myself and what I was doing. So, yeah, I mean, in that regard, no, I mean, I've done everything I can, you know, in this sport for the last 15 years I've been doing it.
Let everybody know where they can find you and how they can get in contact, watch the fight, everything in between. Social handles.
Oh, Jiu-Jitsu is my social handle. I'm not very active at all.
Don't DM.
Oh, or like a weird... You might get something weird on my story. That's about it. And my fight is July 18th. It'll be on ESPN from Fight Island.
And best way to contact you is there none? DM.
What, like, oh.
Email. 0.
Best way to contact?
Yeah, the best way.
Oh, like by, like, professionally?
Yeah.
Oh, I think there's a contact.
You could say none. You could
No,
say
I think there's a contact info in my bio. There's a contact info in my bio if you want to be
for appearances.
Yeah, part of anything in helping me or opportunities or anything like that. I think there's a contact info in my Instagram bio.
You should be like, I want to say this before we go. I think UFC fighters are missing a market. I think they should be like for hire at birthday parties to like come and beat you up. There's money in that. I'm telling you. Maybe like no face punch, like an open mat. Like for like $5,000, Joe will come to your house and slap you around.
That's what Casey said though. How much is your pride worth?
Right.
You know what I mean?
But hey, like Van Halen will play your freaking birthday party if you got the money.
Yeah,
That's true.
I'm serious. I'm down. Like, I'm serious.
I knew of a female fighter that's in the UFC. Not going to name any names to that.
She does like those beating appearances.
Used to.
Those bedroom wrestling.
Until she got famous enough to where she was recognized, and then she was like, "Oh, I can't do
I can't be doing like
it." Yeah, it's
these
like a wrestling thing. It wasn't anything like
No, there's like a market for that, like
super
muscle
X-rated
chicks.
or anything. Yeah, something like that.
Joe won't be doing that
I'm
anytime
just
soon.
full of disappointment.
Oh my
I
God.
just look around the interwebs, and I look around the Instagrams.
Look
and
for
I just constantly shake my head.
look for the Coach Casey. What do they call it? Like those coin op like pages, like the Coach Casey private page.
Never.
All right, listen. This was fun. I know you got to run to
was
training.
great.
This was fun. It was fun to rap with all of you and just kind of get into the mindset and the prep.
Nice.
I wish you, honest, I mean it, the best of luck, and I believe it. You should be making $1 million a fight.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
one of those dudes with the personality, the attitude that everybody should strive to have. And I'm not stroking you. I mean it. It's rare that you come across a guy that doesn't have that attitude, and it's okay sometimes to feel like you're owed it and to go into the fight feeling like it's your time and you're owed it. And I say that because sometimes that puts you, it gives me tingles just saying it, like feeling like it's my time. And you know, it's okay to have that. But I wish you the best of luck, and I'm going to be tuning in. I'm going to be in the ring with you.
Yes.
Not taking the hits with you, but I'll be in there with you in spirit. I'd be knocked out. I appreciate it, and I appreciate the coaches for taking the time. Eddie, Coach Casey,
Anytime.
it's always amazing to have you guys in studio. Tune in, leave a review. Special thanks to the sponsors, Gallo Tech, Rhino Metals, and Blackwater Ammunition. And shout out to Toehold for making an appearance. 10 Planet Toehold. Love you guys. And we're out.